Carjacking victims here in Metro Louisville walk among us every day, trying to process the trauma of a split second their life was at risk. Others aren't so lucky to continue their lives at all. Between 2019 and 2020, carjackings shot up in Metro Louisville. I sat down with an FBI agent and LMPD investigators hoping to find any clues about why and who these criminals are. As the pandemic began in 2020,
remain calm and understand that we will get through this.
Our perspectives changed. People worked from home if they were lucky enough to work at all. Appreciation for simpler things increased. Walks in the park, a great book. Life slowed down. But crime, violent crime in particular, shot up.
This is something I never thought I would be dealing with. These are things you hear about, read about, but you don't ever think it's going to impact your family.
In August of 2020, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Louisville Metro Police Department, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, Homeland Security Investigations, Kentucky State Police, and Jefferson County Sheriff's Office came together to hold a press conference, inviting media partners to share the message. No matter a criminal's age, they've been put on notice.
When they said the FBI was going to be more involved and they set up a task force here in Louisville, I was excited. I'm like, finally we're going to get some more boots on the ground to try to stop what's going on.
Some of the minors that are doing these crimes don't think that they could actually be charged in the federal system. I think they think that it just can't happen. That's not true.
Kids under the age of 18, oftentimes we can't even say their names on TV. They're protected by the law and breaking the law.
The prosecutors ultimately make the decision on whether or not to charge a minor or not to charge a minor in the federal system.
What could guide kids barely old enough to get a permit to violently rob someone of a car? I sat down with the FBI's Assistant Special Agent in Charge, Brian Jones, and two members of LMPD's robbery unit, Detective Matt Crouch and Sergeant Justin Stillwell.
So we are seeing some gang involvement, and many times the adults that are with them are also fairly young adults. Sometimes still teenagers. So we're seeing groups of individuals who all know each other. And we're seeing that a lot of the folks that are committing carjackings are also involved in other crimes. We've seen them involved in drive-by shootings, in just regular theft of vehicles, in business robberies. So we feel that going after these bad actors that are committing carjackings will also affect and hopefully lower just the general violent crime rates in the city.
September of 2021, when we took it over, that's when we really focused on it. But we have seen a lot of serial crews, multiple individuals working together to accomplish this, and then they will have done multiple carjackings and secondary offenses before getting caught by police and interviewed. A suspect takes a stolen vehicle, it's not registered to them, it's harder to track them. Obviously, they're not going to use their personal car for these large violent crimes, and so by getting a stolen vehicle they're able to kind of be undetected for a little bit, and so I think that's the motivation behind it.
Young suspects using the crime of carjacking as a catalyst to other crimes, adding an extra layer to these investigations.
They're actually being detained and being held accountable for their actions. The suspects have told us they're extremely shocked that they're actually being detained and going to be held accountable. And a lot of those juveniles now that started back in September are being now treated as adults and have been indicted in Jefferson County Circuit Court.
The numbers are staggering. In 2018, 101 people were victims of carjackings. In 2019, 81 reported carjackings in the entire year. Then in 2020, 211 people had their vehicles violently stripped from them in the city of Louisville, some of them dying in the process. 2021 brought about another record year. Carjacking spiked to 248. But one person who goes through the trauma of a carjacking is one too many. Coming up after the break, the problem is recognized. What police are doing federally that they say is already showing results.
Obviously, if a suspect is going to commit a carjacking at gunpoint, then there's several consequences that follow that.
But before that, a man so impacted by the stories, he's created his own self-defense course specifically for carjacking. He's showing you what to do if you're a target by pretending he's the criminal.